After a couple of beachgoers are attacked, a small New England town tries to stop the shark responsible while not scaring off the summer tourist. I may be in the minority here, but I think I actually prefer Steven Spielberg's made-for-TV movie Duel to Jaws. But there is no denying that Jaws is the movie that made the name Steven Spielberg synonymous with movie making. Much like people call very smart people Einstein, if they say something really smart or really dumb, people call people Spielberg when they make a really good or a bad movie. He's a regular Spielberg, or he's no Spielberg. So not only did Jaws launch the career of arguably the most famous and talented filmmaker of all time, it also created the summer blockbuster genre of movie. This refers to a big-budget, crowd-pleasing movie released in the heat of summer to draw people into air-conditioned theaters all around the country. Almost 50 years later, and every year, there are still summer blockbusters coming out. Watching Jaws in 2024, the first thing I noticed is that the pacing is much slower than traditional and modern action blockbuster type films. I wouldn't say that the movie drags, but it definitely feels slower than it would if it had come out today. That slowness allows time to build tension and develop characters, and that is something a lot of current movies are lacking in. The behind-the-scenes story of the animatronic shark is so widely known at this point, so I'm just going to do a quick summary. The shark was supposed to be in the movie a lot more than it was, but the animatronic puppet was so finicky, a lot of scenes just had to film around not being able to see the shark, and they just implied the shark being there. While this wasn't done on purpose, or at least I don't think it was, the fact that we rarely saw the shark made each time we did see the shark that much more impactful. People of my parents' generation say that this movie scared them from entering the ocean for quite a while. When a movie changes filmmaking and makes a huge cultural splash, you know it has to be a timeless classic. Now, for most of the movie, we follow along Roy Scheider's Sheriff Brody and 28-year-old Richard Dreyfuss's marine biologist character Hooper as they try to stop the shark. Now, of course, the sheriff wants to save lives and warn everyone to stay out of the water. But the town mayor wants to keep the shark attacks hush-hush because they will lose so much tax revenue if people don't come to the town and swim. This is the summer tourist season after all, so we get a little bit of political turmoil on top of the horror of the actual shark attacks. Robert Shaw's alcoholic sea captain Quint is one of the movie's highlights. He is such an old-school sailor that it almost feels like a caricature of that profession. I did have one major complaint with this character though. I could hardly understand anything that he said. Now, I was able to follow along, but his drunk New England slur was kind of hard to follow. Now, when I'm really intently listening on something, for whatever reason, I kind of squint my eyes. Helps me hear better. So you could say I had to squint to understand Quint. Most of the movie takes place in the small beach town, but nearly the entire third act follows Brody, Hooper, and Quint on a small boat in the middle of the ocean. One of the highlights of that boat trip is the three guys comparing all of their scars, and of course this is also where we get one of the most copied and iconic lines in movie history. You're gonna need a bigger boat. For modern audiences, Jaws probably just seems like another movie, but just below the surface you get to see the beginnings of the genius of Steven Spielberg. We get to hear early John Williams with his most simple, I think the main theme is literally just 2 notes, yet arguably most memorable score. And while the movie isn't quite as scary today as it was in 1975, I still don't know that I'd want to watch it right before going on a beach vacation. Jaws is a timeless classic for a reason. Crushing beer cans, getting your neck rubbed on the beach, playing football in bloody water, screaming near a buoy, wearing amazing suits while getting yelled at.